Hello everybody. Well, welcome to Tuesday Truths. Tuesday Truths is where we've taken pieces of part 1 and part 2, but it's a special 100th episode this week. So Tuesday Truths is a bit of me answering some questions, and Luke Bailey coming on tomorrow on Wednesday, so make sure you tune in, but I'll tease you. I'll get some parts 2 and put it in here. But Luke Bailey is a special person that came into my life 10 years ago after I went through something extraordinarily devastating to me that changed the trajectory of my life. Luke was the only person outside of my partner that saw me go through something really dark, and he saw the physical effects, the mental effects, the emotional effects of that, whereas everybody else would have just seen a mask. That's what we're here to share, that people are wearing masks. So be kind. Here's Tuesday Truths with me and Luke. Before we dive in, I want to give a big, massive shout out to our now new proud sponsor, Eshu Skincare, a brand that truly aligns with leading our own way. This Australian-born company is dedicated to keeping skincare simple, effective, and straightforward. They've made waves in the US, even landed in Macy's and over 300 stores, and now they're back with a renewed focus on healthy skin and real results. If you want authentic skincare that fits your lifestyle, check them out in the show notes. Thanks to Eshu Skincare for supporting real stories and mental fitness on leading our own way. And if you're interested in sponsoring like Eshu Skincare, drop us a message. We'd love to connect. At number 2, was there a single moment when you realised you had to change your life's direction? Yeah, it was. It was the hospital, in the bed, the sepsis shock. My partner got the phone call to say, prepare for the worst tonight. There's 30 minutes point where he might be in a coma. When I got home and had all the tubes, I've done this on a speech, I had all the tubes and the blood and everything coming through, and my partner had to drain it constantly. Every 20 minutes it would fill up. I was sat there feeling alone. I didn't see the effects of me dying on me. I saw the effects on my 2 children and my partner, right? And that's what I saw. And there's a quote from this book, Bridget Hancock, that was on 2 weeks ago, and there's a quote in there that says, change often occurs when the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of making a change. So when I went through all the bully scenario and the job scenario, the toxic workplace scenario, yes, it was crisis. Yes, it was painful. Yes, it was traumatic. But the pain wasn't there to make the change. It changed the job. And you go around in circles, right? You go around in circles. The behavior repeats itself, and I kept venting, kept opening up, and it releases the undesired emotions of that day. But when you go to sleep and start again, you do it again. But when you're almost at death, what's the other outcome? That was the point of making a change. That was it. Sitting on the couch, and I went, I'd got to do something purposeful. I didn't change my career. I became a casual relief teacher here in Australia, and people look down at casual relief teachers, but I have guaranteed work. I started my career as a casual relief teacher as guaranteed work every single day, but I get the flexibility of going to different schools, being at home with my family, going to my son's basketball games after school, which I would never have been able to do because I got so deep into my work. I'd be there till 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, after being there from 7 o'clock in the morning, or 8 o'clock, especially when I opened the school. That required a lot of work and a lot of attention and focus, and that's a whole different story. But that's when I changed my life and started to have space physically, mentally, emotionally to read. And I spent 1.5 years, 2 years reading these. And then it gave me, because I'd changed my habits with food and exercise and sleep, I could give I gave the brain what it needed. I gave the brain all the nutrients it needed, all the emotional space it needed, all the physical and mental space it needed to be creative. I wouldn't have been able to create these, the albums, the front covers, edit a podcast. It's insane what I've learned through this process. So yeah, that was it. But briefly, in 2014, I won the National Teacher of the Year award. In 2015, I found myself in a workplace bullying scenario. I don't know if those people really knew what they were doing. I don't know if they intended to hurt me or even know that what they were doing. They may think this is nothing to them. But for me, I went through one of the most difficult times of my life. The reason why I told you about the Teacher of the Year award and how it might be connected is everyone kept telling me, That's tall poppy. That's tall poppy syndrome. And here in Australia, it's quite well known apparently. And still to this day, I don't know if it is, but everyone says it. And so when I wrote the book with my friend Mike, we collected stories from around the world of people going through very similar scenarios. And my journey in chapter 1 is called Tall Poppy Syndrome. So guys, that book is a leadership book. We collected stories from around the world. Chapter 2 was a personal development chapter intertwined with those scenarios in chapter 1. And then chapter 3 was that human side of leadership, showing leaders, if you don't lead with purpose, this is the impact on people's lives, because everyone is a human. And I think we should all be treated like one. That's the premise, is the root of my journey. I lived, once the journey of the workplace bullying was kind of over and the truth came out and it was fairly evident what was happening. For those who were in my life at the time, they still might never know, but I went through the most difficult time of my life where I wasn't sleeping, I was thrown up before work, and I had suicidal thoughts. I had my son, he didn't fix me. I was still going to work every single day with a mask on my face. Everyone thought I was happy, but I was a shell of a person. I wouldn't go to bed till 4 o'clock in the morning, eating rubbish. My dog supported me. She was always there. My good old girl, Flossie, still going strong. My partner really didn't know what to do. She was great, but just really didn't know how to support me. She'd even be on the phone crying to her mum, not sure how to support me. I think most people will go, it's just not, you're not getting along with somebody. And this is where Luke, who's going to be in part 2, Luke, after we've not seen each other in 10 years. Actually, I lie. We saw each other at a party many years ago, a house party of one of my colleagues, believe it or not. We saw each other and reconnected. But he was kind enough to come on the show and share what he saw. He is, outside of my partner and my dog, was the person who saw the darkness, what I was going through. And some weird things were going on in the house too. Maybe signs. I don't know. But listen for part 2 for that one. Built the house, bought a new fancy car, and got my dream job, only to find myself in the toxic work environment. Not bullying, but just it was a toxic environment to be in. A beautiful journey, but it wasn't for me. When I left there, 6 weeks later, I was rushed into hospital with septic shock in the bile duct. And I will answer this part of some of my questions because I've read some of them and saved them for many months. But that was the catalyst. That was the change. That was what needed to change. So that's when I wrote the book, and I started to study all these books: the brain, sleep, food, nutrition, exercise, movement, cells, the cellular level. And for me, that is the root of everything. If we can get to the root and work on it, and if I can give tips to people from around the world, I'm not here to dictate. I'm not here to even give advice. That's for the guests. And they give their advice based on their own personal journey, and every journey is different. One guest might conflict with another way of another guest doing it, but that's the beauty, because it works for them and their individuality. And that's why I love getting a range of guests, from neuroscientists to athletes, for mental health advocates, for TEDx talkers, best-selling authors in mental health, Alzheimer's experts, dementia experts, cancer experts. We've had them all up to episode 100. It's been incredible. People who've tried to end their lives, breathwork coaches, leadership coaches. I mean, I forget, there's been that many. Go and have a look. You can see them. 90s. Health experts from the TV on the show. Like, I would never imagine even speaking to these types of people. Never mind have them on a show where we go into depth so we can help other people. That's what leading our own way is all about. That is them leading their own way, giving to the world, based some of which of their journey of why. Right? Yeah. All of my guests, they're all been wearing masks at some point. And I wanted to show that I was wearing a mask, and everyone who would have seen me every single day would have thought, Andy's okay. He got through a really horrible time, but he's all right. But I really wasn't. I was kidding myself. And
at the time, you were very, you were, as I said, I might have been being told spiritually, no, this guy's okay, but it wasn't something. How do I put it? If I'd gone home and someone said to me, spirit, no, you need to contact this guy again. Something's not right. I would have, and that's sort of how I tend to be. My friends will tell you that. If I'm doing something or I think about something, I often go, I've got to call so and so, and I just do it because I feel that that's what you need to do. And reaching out to people is probably one of the biggest things everyone should do, I reckon. I always say, if someone pops into your mind or something pops into your mind, it's often for a reason,
Yeah, I agree.
And that's the thing. But I was not underestimating the state that you were in. But I think when I left, I'm glad how you've described it. It makes more sense to me. It makes me feel better to know that I left you feeling more positive, or maybe setting you on another journey, or just being that listening ear for 3.5 hours.
That's right.
To let you unload, and realize that you're not crazy, because that I felt like that was probably more the energy that you were doing. Am I going mad? And like, what's wrong with me? And there was nothing wrong with you. It's just you had to see there was nothing wrong with you.
Yeah, I mean, through the bullying journey, I definitely felt like I was going mental, because no one, I'd be looking around like, nobody saw that. And then when you do open up, you do sound like the crazy one, and then you feel like the crazy one because the energy is coming from the other people to make you feel like that.
Yeah. There's a thing called being the family scapegoat, but it works in other ways too. Being the scapegoat at work, it's the same dynamic, and you can, there's, I don't like using the term narcissism and that sort of stuff, but there are people who are covertly narcissistic.
I think that was the case.
They'll do things, as we know, to, and often they've got their own demons and issues and stuff they're going through, but some of them aren't. Some of them are just, that's their nature, and it's pretty hard. When you become, you could say, the victim of that toxicity, their spell is about making you feel like it's always your problem. So what you've described as you had to go through that and come out the other side that nearly killed you is not an uncommon scenario. And I think anyone watching this should take note that sometimes, normally my thing is this: if you're actually thinking to yourself, hey, what have I done wrong? You're not the narcissist.
That's very true. Very simple, yet
it's a
great
fairly
point.
simple analysis.
Yeah,
What
very
have I
great
done
point.
wrong? There's usually someone else that's causing the problem, and that person's not thinking they've done anything wrong. They're telling you that you've done everything wrong.
Yeah, so true. My partner actually thought it was her grandmother coming through to speak to you as well. That's what she thought.
It
Don't
could
even
have
remember
been,
that.
actually. Look,
Yeah.
as I said, yes, it could have been. As I said, it's going back 10 years.
Oh, I know. I'm asking
And
you
I'm trying
to
to
drill into the
remember
memory
this.
ones here. And at some point behind the scenes of my life, my partner had contacted you and then contacted us this weekend, and I must have been really going downhill because I'd had those thoughts. Not the fact that I wanted to end my life, but just those thoughts of what if, my dog was just the one that would always lie with me and comfort me. It's not that my partner wasn't supportive, of course she was, but she didn't know how to. She didn't know what I was going through. She never experienced. I hadn't experienced workplace bullying before in my entire life. It was just crazy. And then you came that day, and you saw a rawness in me that nobody else had ever. I know I've asked you a lot to take yourself back in a memory, and I know you touched on it briefly, but I always find it fascinating if a camera could be watching me and me watching back. You're my camera lens now. What did you see in me? Because I'm a pretty confident, outgoing person, and
I saw a highly anxious, nearly overly concerned. When somebody is, you weren't. I'm not going to say you're obsessional in any way, shape, or form. That's not how you were. You were worried that, like, what the hell's going on? Like, what the hell's going on? But you were worried in such a way that when I found out later that in communication with you and conversation with you that you'd been subject to workplace bullying and all the rest of stuff, the best thing I could describe it as, it was still affecting you. And it was still affecting you in your day-to-day life. And then you've got, like you said, you had you knew your father as you got older. You thought having a baby was going to fix other problems, and that's sort of a bit of a patch on the jeans or a patch on the quilt. It just keeps them going for a while, but it's not necessarily going to fix a deeper underlying problem that was there. And I think from what I was seeing at the time, you just needed a high level of reassurance that you weren't crazy. That's one of them.
I felt crazy, yeah.
That it was that you were normal, that what you were experiencing. And I think if you think about it, Andy, the whole I do remember. I'm pretty sure of this now, because I remember we looked. I pulled the drawer out, and you said this card had come down, and we looked up, and there was another, like one or two other cards caught in the same top. And I went, look, and we pulled them out. And I said, it's come from here. It was, wow. But you, as you said, you could be pulling that drawer in and out for 2 years, never fell out, because we don't know whether the people before you living in there had put them up there to hide them and then forgot to pick them up.
I recall the name being the previous tenant.
Yeah, okay, so there you go. But what happened was the fact that we found that sort of thing, all of a sudden, it was like a confirmation in you that, so I'm not going crazy. So this isn't all just, some sort of weird demonic possession in my house that's out to get me.
No.
It was like, but what I'm getting at, you had that energy and fear, underlying fear, that's the anxiety I was going to describe, that life was against you in some way. Something was not working out. Everything was always against you. Everything didn't work out properly. We still, for right now, I could still not explain why the heater was, switching off. I'm pretty sure there was a light as well, or a lamp. There was some. I did get a sense that there was an energy there. But what I've also known, I don't know which one it was, because I'm not your typical. I'm quite psychic, but I'm not a psychic. I'm not a medium. I'm not somebody. Although I have that capacity, don't get me wrong.
What you just witnessed is only a snippet of our amazing conversation this week. This is what Leading Our Own Way is all about. Real stories, real transformation. If you're watching this before Wednesday, part 1 dropped yesterday and part 2 releases tomorrow. But if you're already here after Wednesday, all parts are available now. Head to YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts and every other major platform and look for the numbers on the bottom left-hand corner of the episode's covers to start with part 1. Trust me, you don't want to miss this incredible journey.